So at this point, we've talked about rational and irrational numbers, and we talked about roots. Well, what we want to do now is find a way to estimate roots, because we know how to find a perfect square, like the square root of 4, or the square root of 16, right? Square root of 16 is 4, the square root of 4 is 2. We know those, but what if we get something that's in between those, that's a non-perfect square, that we know that's going to be an irrational number? Well, then we have to estimate. We're going to have to estimate in those cases. So we have here the square root of 3. Now let's think about that. If we wanted to estimate the square root of 3, it might be a good idea to find the two square roots that are around this one, that are slightly larger and slightly smaller. So what is the square root of a perfect square, right? What's a perfect square that is larger than the square root of 3? Hopefully you remembered that there is the square root of 4, right? Because we know that the square root of 4 is 2. Well, what's something that is smaller than the square root of 4? Well, the square root of 1 is 1 times 1. So the square root of 1 is just 1. So we know that the square root of 3 is going to be between these two. And we know that there's also the square root of 2 here. It's going to be slightly more than that. Now we know that our answer, our estimate, is going to be between 1 and 2. So let's just try a guess. We know that it's going to be slightly closer to 4. So let's try 1.7. Let's try 1.7. So in order to try that out, we'll square 1.7 and see if that gets us close. So 2.89. Now 2.89 is very close. It's very close to 3, right? It's really close. And let's see if we can get closer. Let's try 1.8. So 1.8 times 1.8. 3.24. Now which of these is closer? Well, in fact, 2.89 is closer. It's also under 3, so that's convenient. We know this one's closer. It's only 11 points away, where this one is 24 away. So we know that our best estimate for the square root of 3 is going to be 1.7. 1.7. Here we go again. We have the square root of 66. And what we want to find are our two perfect squares that are both smaller and then larger than square root of 66. So we'll put square root of 66 right here in the middle. Square root of 66. And we know that the perfect square that would be less than 66 would be 64, because the square root of 64 is 8. 8 times 8. And then the square root of 81 would be 9. The square root of 81 would be 9. So we know that our estimate for the square root of 66 is going to be between 8 and 9. And we know it's going to be really close to the square root of 64. So it's probably going to be much closer to 8.1 than anywhere near 9. So let's try just 8.1. Let's guess 8.1. So 8.1 times 8.1. 65.61. Now that's really close to 66, isn't it? Let's see if we can get closer. Now this one is 39 away. So 39 away. That's how far we are. Let's try 8.2 and see if we can get closer. 8.2, 67.24. Well, this is much further away than 66. This is 1.24 away from 66. So we know that our best estimate for the square root of 66 is in fact 8.1. And that's all there is to it.